Well, ladies and gentlemen, wish you all a very, very good morning. And it is going to be CSK taking on Kings 11 Punjab. I've got an esteemed panel of guests right here. I've got Boria, Pragyan, and Rajashri right here with me. So, gentlemen, let's just straight away dive into the game that we have in our hand. And I'll start with you, Pragyan. You think CSK will be back to its winning ways?
There's a bit of concern there. MS Dhoni, if you see at the press conference, a captain can only talk to a certain extent when it comes to the negativity, but there is far more concern when you talk, especially the batting lineup and the bowling. They're not gelled up the way we have seen them, the way they have been doing. And all of us are talking so much about CSK because every time there is IPL, everybody, right from the guy who just watches like a layman and an expert, says that all the teams fight to see someone else playing the finals against CSK because that is a reputation they carry. But
Yes.
this year, seeing them in the bottom is something most of us are not able to digest. So I think MS Dhoni, a cricketer, what we have seen, he will definitely go down. Last game we have seen there, that was a very different change. They never had a quick fast bowler because they wanted to get their combination right, and he wanted his man, the go-to man, Bravo, in by any cost. So
Yeah.
I completely believe, they are in desperate need, and I believe, something or the other, they will be trying to, get it together to do well, to get that one game. Once they get into that winning mode, then slowly the momentum changes. We've seen that.
Yep. But I'd like to ask you that, we've always seen as MS is a very calculative man. And if you're looking at CSK matches, they're also trying to get, if they're not winning, at least they're getting very close to the total. You think this calculation is going to play a role for CSK in this particular season of IPL, or this is not going to be the right move going with the way the other teams are playing?
Good question. In the sense, he has to be inspirational. Ultimately, it's his leadership and his strategy which is now going to take that team out of the hole. 1 out of 4. I think two things. Pragyan Ojha made a very important point, and in fact, this is a point I don't want to name the person, but one of the rival captains made to me that Dwayne Bravo will bowl the tram lines and maybe sort of concede less runs, but Chennai needs wickets in the power play. So if I was MS Dhoni, I would be tempted. And when you're playing a Kings 11, you know that you get KL Rahul, Mayank Agarwal and Nicholas Puran game done. So you need wickets in that power play. So who gets you wickets in that power play? Is it Hazelwood? Is it Bravo? Is it a power bowler, as in a gun bowler who will swing the ball against Mayank Agarwal, in, out, get the edge? Who has more chances? I will go in with a decisive wicket-taking bowler. And the second move I'll do, and this I'll do blindly, is drop Kedar Jadhav. Kedar Jadhav is not serving any purpose in that team because he's eating up balls. MS is not able to come at 4. Number 5 should be Jadeja. Number 6, Sam Curran. Number 7, Bravo. If you are going with the gun team, 1, 2, what you have to go with Watson. So it's Watson, Faf, Raidu, Dhoni, and then your 3 all-rounders, Sam Curran, Ravindra Jadeja, and Dwayne Bravo. I don't see Kedar. That's how I would have approached. But as I said, Hazelwood, answering your question, that strategy is very important against a Kings 11 because Kings 11 is almost a 3-man team. It's Rahul, Mayank, and Shami. These 3 you take out of that equation, it's a half team. So you beat Rahul and Mayank with Hazelwood, half the job is done.
All right. Rashi, would you drop Kedar Jadhav as well?
Absolutely. I'm with Pragyan and Bori on this. Kedar is now serving no purpose in the team apart from eating. I mean, look at the way that innings panned out yesterday. We were discussing MS Dhoni's tactics. I would also, again, I don't want to go against Pragyan here, and I completely understand the point he's making is that the captain cannot do everything. You heard him say this at the post-match presentation ceremony. He says, we need to be more intent. We need to show more professionalism. He's almost demanding it of his team. It is an aging team, no doubt, but the same players have delivered for the Super Kings over the years. Again, picking up a point from where Boria said that, when you're running into a team like Kings 11 Punjab, you're essentially against Rahul, Mayank, and Shami. Dhoni, again, this is something I believe in, that the Dhoni model is it going to work through the rest of the IPL? Because if you are playing either of Raidu or Jadhav, if Kedar is getting maybe another couple of games, that means Dhoni does not get to bat higher up than 6 or 5. Remember what they did in 2018, Ridhima, when Dhoni, when they were coming back, and Dhoni was determined to show what the Super Kings were all about. He repeatedly came up at number 4. He was a floater. He looked like he was much more flexible 2 years back, batting up as a floater, going down to number 5 or number 6 when he had to finish games. When you have the likes of Jadeja, Sam Curran, and Dwayne Bravo, there's enough firepower, there's enough experience to finish games. You need MS at number 4. Even if you look at the fact that he's probably not what he was 3 or 4 years ago, if he needs those extra balls, somebody has to go and tell this in his ears that you have to bat at number 4. And for that, Kedar has to go out.
Indeed. Well, Pragyan, if we talk about Kings 11, like Bora very rightly mentioned, the lot of load of that team is dependent on these 3 shoulders. Would there be any changes in the lineup that you would make going up against CSK?
Good question.
That's for the first time we saw, the middle order got exposed. So that is a big concern. We saw Karun Nair like totally clueless. The way, if you see a cricketer's body language, once Mayank and KL Rahul got out, the way he came in, the way he was playing, he looked clueless. He had no idea like what should be his approach. So that is a concern there. And Puran also, we have been talking, he's a super player. He's got a little bit of start, but he's not been that consistent. So there is a pressure on him as well, because Chris Gayle, a guy like him sitting out, and any team he can just walk in. Not only because on a given day he will win you games, but also psychologically he can play against you. When he's standing there, most of the bowlers, they'll be in back foot. So I'm backing, they should go with Chris Gayle at some point of time, maybe this game against CSK, because CSK is not settled, and also they are, they're in a spot where they've never been. So if Chris Gayle comes in opening with KL Rahul and Mayank goes down a bit, then there must be, something again very surprising for CSK. And also Chris Gayle, 10 out of 9 games, if he bats, he's going to win you games, man, single-handedly.
Right. Would you like to add anything or subtract anything from that particular lineup?
I think Pragyan makes a very valid point. I mean, if you go see 2 things I want to add. One, if Glenn Maxwell is not going to bowl, and he hasn't, and if you are going to go to Krishnappa Gautam against Pollard and Hardik in your 20th over, God save you, right? God save you. I mean, and that he got it wrong. KL got it wrong. So Sheldon Cottrell finished off early, and as a result, he had to go to Krishnappa Gautam against the 2 best finishers, got deposited for 4 sixes in that last over. Yeah. So Chris Jordan has had 1 bad game. 1 bad game. He's the highest wicket taker in T20s for England with a reason. And he's a finisher. He's a death bowler finisher. So he is sitting out, and you are not going to, what is Nisham's role? Is he there as a batting all-rounder or a bowling all-rounder? Is he going to finish your games? Is he going to bowl at the death? There should be clarity. And based on that clarity, I would actually get Chris Jordan into that mix to be my death bowler. Because Dhoni will come there, Bravo will come there, Sam Curran will come there, etc. Number 1. Number 2, the same point, that if I want to persist with Nick Puran because of the way he's batted, fine. But what is Maxwell doing? Has he looked like the way Karun Nair? Has Maxwell looked to win you games? Because he's an enigma. For some reason, mentally, again, he's sort of switched off. He's trying reverse hits, switch hits, this, that, whatnot. And his body language 9 times, and I was working very, very sort of watching closely. Out of the 14, 15 runs he got, 9 or 8 times he was about to get out. In fact, I was like, what is wrong with this guy? So get a Chris Gayle in, make it all power. And the other point about Chris Gayle, Ridhima, is there is no express bowler. If there was a Rabada or a Archer or a Pat Cummins in that CSK lineup who will rattle Gayle at this age with 150 clicks, it's a Deepak Chahar at 135. It's a Josh Hazelwood at 135. It's a Shardul Thakur at 135. Chris Gayle is still good enough against 135k pace.
Yeah. Rajni, what is the kind of score that you're expecting in this particular match?
Look, with Chris Gayle, you get the feeling that they're going to use him in short bursts. He is not going to give you 14 games. He's not going to give you 10 games. Like last year, I suppose he's going to be in those four features in those 4 or 5 games. And if he delivers into 3 or 4 of those, you're done. Absolutely worth the buy he was. Uh, bring Chris Gayle in for these games. These are power games because this is now, we're still far away from the business end, but we're getting into the halfway mark. And by the halfway mark, teams would usually want to see themselves settled at least in the top five, so that there is absolutely you have a window open to get to the knockout stages. Who would have imagined Chennai Super Kings languishing right at the bottom? So this has now become a game of the bottom laggards. Kings 11 Punjab have looked very strong. I could totally sympathize with KL Rahul when he said, just for those couple of silly mistakes, we could have had a couple more wins. And he has been trying hard. Mayank has been trying hard. We've discussed how this team is only about, is primarily about Shami, Mayank, and Rahul, these two at the top. Bring Chris Gayle and bring some firepower. Chris Gayle, for me, then becomes, he comes out to open with KL Rahul, Mayank Agarwal at number 3. Maxwell, yes, he's a bit of an enigma. But the thing with players like Maxwell, Ridhima, is that you never know. It's just that one shot that can change everything. It doesn't even need a couple of balls, 4 or 5 balls. Suddenly, a couple of sixes come blazing out from his bat, and you see a different Glenn Maxwell. Suddenly, you have a 30 ball 70 out coming out of nowhere, and the context of the game changes. So,
when has it happened in the IPL? Out of 5 seasons, 70 matches, not even 2 games has he done that for the Kings 11.
No, he
I
hasn't.
I was just waiting for this question, Boriada. I was looking at your expression. I could feel that this was coming.
No. Not just the IPL, but give him some doubt, give him some room for his performances in the Middle East. He has a connection with the Middle East, so that is what I'm counting on because I like Glenn Maxwell as a player, and I'm speaking from that perspective where I'm hoping against hope that he comes good, and you bring Chris Gayle up at number 3 and probably still look to give Maxwell one more game and see where this goes.
Right, but you still haven't answered the question. Yeah, please go ahead.
Rashida, see, what you're talking is like, you are talking like a person who's like, seen Maxwell do well. But what Boriada and what we are saying is, Maxwell is not there. If you look at him, he's like totally blank when he's batting. He's not looking as if, okay, today is a bad day for me. I can come back. He doesn't look like that. He looks like he's totally blank and clueless with ideas. So as we said, you can come with Chris Jordan. The number says it. One odd game, it happens. But for Maxwell, if you see, the number says he is more of a failure than a success. So why not get Chris Jordan in and give him another chance and strengthen your bowling? And also, he can bat a bit.
Let me just pop in a question quickly, Ridhima. Is this something that is playing at the back of the team management as well? Are they going by reputation in that case? Because yes, you're right. Chris Jordan had just that one bad game, and you're also right when you say that Maxwell looks absent mentally. He is a coach's player. I don't know what is going on with him, and it has happened with him in the past in the Australian cricket team as well, where people have sort of questioned his presence mentally and what he's been surrounded by mentally. But do you think the captain is then going by reputation, and how detrimental is that going to be in a tournament like this? It's a long tournament and being played in extremely hot and oppressive conditions. Is that going to be detrimental for a young captain who has shown spunk? He's shown spark, but is that going to be detrimental in the longer run for Kings 11 Punjab?
You asking me?
Is that for you, Pragyan?
Yeah. So I feel you have to see when you come into the tournament, you see your 11. You are set in your mind with 11, but you have to also analyze who's looking confident, how well he's batting, and what are his plans. So if you look at Karun Nair and Maxwell, for me it looks very clear for me that they are not with a plan. They look like fish out of water. So for that reason, if you look at Chris Jordan, he's more with a plan. Okay, he's gone for runs, but he was looking like he's got some ideas. He wants to try few things, and even the numbers that he's delivered backs him. So I feel more than the reputation, when you are halfway mark, it is more about who's going to deliver for you and how you're going to reach the playoff is more important than the reputation that someone carries.
All right. Going by that, now let me ask the prediction which I'd asked Rajeshri. Were you expecting a 200 plus score?
No, because the game isn't in Sharjah, so it will not be a 200 game. And if you see the other two venues, there is swing at the top. There is movement for bowlers. Bhuvi got it in, Deepak Chahar got it in. There was out movement, Natarajan against Raidu. So there is movement. Pat Cummins got it in. Jofra Archer moved the ball. So there is move. I think it's 170 odd wicket. 165 to 175 maybe, and that will influence our fantasy selections also. But going by that logic, the Pragyan logic, and he's right here, if you back Sheldon Cottrell for a second game after Rahul Tewatia, why not Chris Jordan? Because that way, drop Krishnappa Gautam, drop Sheldon Cottrell. You can't drop people after one bad games when, again, Rajarshi reputation, Chris Jordan has the best reputation in England among death bowlers, right? So, and what is their problem? Their problem is death bowling. Also, a certain Mujibur Rahman, who picks wickets by the dozen, is sitting out, and he can bowl you 3 overs in the power play. That will mean Sheldon Cottrell and Mohammad Shami are both protected 2 overs each for the death. Then try Mujibur Rahman against an ailing CSK, and none of them pick Mujibur Rahman. Surprise element, Faf du Plessis, Shane Watson, for God's sake, will not pick Mujibur Rahman at the top. Try him. Give him 3 overs, which means 2 overs from Shami, 1 from Cottrell, or the other way around. So you have 4 overs from your faster bowlers at the death. You don't have to go to Gautam. You are sorted. So I think Anil and KL Rahul will obviously sort of keep all of these things in mind.
All right, so gentlemen, let's dive into selecting your Dream 11. I'll start with you, Pragyan. Who are your Dream 11?
My 11. This time it's a bit tricky, but for me, the openers would be, without a doubt, I'll go with KL Rahul. If Chris Gayle is not playing, then Mayank. Then after that, I'll go with Ambati Raidu. And Ambati Raidu, and then we go with say someone like
Du Plessis?
Yeah, definitely du Plessis. See, I right now I don't have the list with me, so it's getting a little difficult for me. But more of, I'll go with a few players who I want in the team, and Mohammad Shami for sure. And bowling, if you go, both the team's spinners are not good. I'll not have any spinners in this fantasy 11, and Chris Jordan for sure, his death bowling, and wicket keeper, obviously, MS Dhoni for sure. As a captain, I'll have him.
Okay.
All right. Bora, what about you? Like you very rightly mentioned, both the teams, we've got some really hard hitters. So our top order is going to be also tricky to select because we've got some hard hitters in both the teams. And who would be your bowling unit?
See, I've obviously, you also have to keep in mind the points, right? The credit points that is available per player. So 10 is a very high credit point note. So you cannot have multiple tenors. So I will go with KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal. Mayank Agarwal looks very good, along with du Plessis and Raidu. So I know that I'll get runs there. I'll drop Watson. If Chris Gayle plays, then I'll get Gayle for Puran. Okay, so it will be KL Rahul, Mayank Agarwal, Chris Gayle / Puran from Kings 11. So my top 3 sorted. I've got Faf du Plessis and Ambati Raidu from the CSK side. So that's my fantasy top order. For my middle, for my all-rounders, I will get Sam Curran for sure, because Sam Curran will give me both bat and ball. I will get Krishnappa Gautam because he has that long handle towards the end, and there are a couple of, if you look at that CSK lineup, there are a couple of left-handers there, Ravindra Jadeja, Sam Curran, so the off-spinner might come in and get me a couple of wickets there. So and then my bowling, obviously I will go with Mohammad Shami and Sheldon Cottrell, and if they play Chris Jordan, go with Chris Jordan also. If they don't, then it's Mohammad Shami and Sheldon Cottrell, Deepak Chahar at the top because of the swing. And to close out, I really hope they play Josh Hazlewood. The toss-up will be between Josh Hazlewood and this one, Shardul Thakur. If Josh Hazlewood plays, I will pick him ahead of a Kings 11 bowler. because I think if he dents with Mayank and Rahul, I'll get some valuable fantasy points. So that's my 11. Captain, very crucial captain, vice captain options. KL, Mayank, Faf, Duplessis, rotate it. Do two teams, go with Rahul and Mayank, Mayank and Duplessis, Duplessis and Rahul, rotate it, because that's where your key points will come.
All right, we've got a bit of different opinions on captains here. Rajeshri, what about you?
I hope a lot of people are watching this because, when these two guys talk about fantasy cricket, you really want to listen. And I'm learning a lot from what Boria and Pragyan said. So my lineup is going to resemble a lot of what Boria has already told you. Going with Rahul and Agarwal, undoubtedly. As my openers, I have Faf at number 3. I have Raidu at number 4. Then I've packed it with all-rounders and bowlers because of the conditions. Keeping in mind the conditions. So I have Sam Curran and Dwayne Bravo in the middle order. Ravindra Jadeja bringing in at number 7. So I have a total of 7 bowling options. Hazelwood and Shami and Deepak Chahar. And it'll be a toss-up between M. Ashwin and Mujibur. So, I've been waking up late at night also to try and figure out whether it's Ashwin or Mujib in my team. I can only imagine what KL Rahul would be going through. If I'm struggling with my fantasy 11, I can only imagine what KL Rahul would be going through.
And one more thing, when you're talking about fantasy 11, you are worried about Mujibur Rahman or M. Ashwin. I am thinking about CSK. We have got last year's purple cap holder Tahir sitting out. That's something you feel for it, because someone who's been the highest wicket taker and he's not even getting a chance to play in the 11. That's a big thing.
And by the way, if he plays, he will get you wickets. So get him in that fantasy team straight away, and he will start that run from UAE and land up straight in Chennai in celebration.
All right, so Pragyan, if you won the toss, what would you do in this particular match?
If I'm CSK, I'll look to bat for sure. If you see the numbers, they are not been that good with chase, the way they were always been a chasers. But if I win the toss, if I'm CSK, I'll bat first.
All right. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. We've almost played the match right here with our 11, and we won the toss. And with every contribution, thank you so much. It has been fantastic hosting all of this for you. And I hope everyone has enjoyed watching this. Thanks a lot for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.